a very interesting film today. Today we're going to talk about Empire of the Apes. Beyond the Planet of the Apes. Despite what you might be thinking, and despite what you might be assuming, this has nothing to do with the original Planet of the Apes or the franchise in any way, shape, or form outside of name only. Because, of course, this is an indie film. If you couldn't judge by the back here, this is not a 70s film with 70s costumes. This film was made in roughly 2013 to 2014. It was released in 2014. These are costumes found in the 2010s. All of this was made in the 2010s. We're going to read the back of the case for you here. In a distant galaxy, on a burnt-out world, 3 escaped female convicts crash land on a primitive world inhabited by a race of warlike apes. A daring escape is their only way out. Hot on their heels are the bloodlusting gorillas and a prison warden bent on their return to the prison ship that they escaped from. Who will survive on a planet where apes rule and humans are only breeding stock? And despite what that might say, there is no in the film. It's practically PG. Yes. If this was to be rated by the whatever, it would at the worst be a PG-13 film, but I would just say it's a PG film. There's nothing bad, it isn't gore, nothing like that. And this is gloriously shot on a budget of negative. Because there is there is no budget here. This film looks like a high school film project. And that's being pretty generous. I've seen some really good-looking high school film projects. I've been to a high school. I used to go to a high school, and during my high school years, which took place between the late 2000s to the early 2010s, I've seen skits and stuff shot in that high school that was in better quality than what you found in this. This is a time capsule of absolute terrible film. The corners that were cut here, the jury-rigging of all sorts of commonly found objects in order to make anything that remotely looks sci-fi, is admirable. It is admirable how low of a budget and yet how determined the people were in this film in order to make something that even remotely resembles a film. I saw certain shots of what looked like a foam coffee cup that was arts and crafted. That's my new coined term. But it looks like it was made in arts and crafts. This little foam coffee cup, was turned into a spaceship and was used as a spaceship in this film. And that's not the only common household item that they jury-rigged to look into a Starship shuttle. There's one that looked like a freaking ice cream cone that you spray painted silver Oh my god. It was brilliant. It was amazing. The corners that they cut because they couldn't afford anything. This was a no-budget film. When you have absolutely no money and you have to make it work with nothing. There are jury-rigged costumes made out of old Halloween costumes. There are Party City ape masks. Oh my goodness, it was so... I love it. I loved this movie. And it is an experience that you have to experience in order to understand just what is going on here. It looks like it was created in Windows Movie Maker. It looks like it was edited with Windows Movie Maker. It was shot digitally. There's some digital decay in the shots. Some of the frames look more pixelated than others, which you don't usually get when you shoot in film. But of course they couldn't use film. No, they used friggin' digital cameras. So they recorded with cameras. I don't know how many cameras they had, maybe one or two. And let's talk about the apes. There's only five apes. 5 ape masks were the only masks that they could afford, and they had to make them look different. There's one ape that's in a trench coat with farmer gardener gloves on, because you can't show the human skin. There's another one in another trench coat with a different color trench coat. It looks more raggedy. There's another one in animal skin trench coat. Oh my god, this is killing me just talking about it. It's killing me just talking about it. Let's try to talk about the film plot wise. So, what you got from the back here is that there's a prison ship in space carrying 3 women wearing clothes that look like people would wear in the 2010s. And there's a starship in space, the starshipness with aluminum foil for walls, aluminum foil on the walls, and a Windows 98 computer, the background, a VCR in the background that look like old futuristic machines, because nobody knows what a VCR is anymore. And this starship goes to space and it crashes. One of the escape pods is jettisoned, carrying the 3 ladies, and they land on this planet and are encountered by only 5 apes that represent a big society that you don't see. It's just 5 apes, and they imprisoned the ladies in a shed. In a shed that's easily escapable. The gate looks like one of those gates you'd have on one of those old wooden decks in your backyard. The wooden deck, you know what a wooden deck is? If you know what a house is, some of the houses have wooden decks. And that gate on the wooden deck is basically what they put on to imprison the ladies in the shed. And there's a bunch of old household items that clearly look like they were purchased from a Walmart or something laying around. This is clearly Grandma's backyard, and the whole film is shot in Grandma's backyard because she's got a big yard, and there's a little bit of the woods in the back, and so a lot of the film is shot in the shed. The ladies talking to each other, trying to figure out how to escape, and then we keep switching over to the apes. One of the apes is named Trask, and Mr. Trask is the nice ape who wants to let the ladies go free, and the rest of the apes want to use the ladies as breeding stock, but there's none of that in the film, but they imply it a lot. And so the 4 ape people, and then there's Trask, who's the dissenting party, and then they talk about wanting to do stuff to the ladies, and then the ladies escape, and then the monkeys have to chase the ladies. They capture 2 of the ladies. One of the ladies escapes for the bulk of the film. We don't see what she's up to. She's just gone for the bulk of the film. Their clothes are always the same. They're not dirtied up, because of course not. Laundry is expensive, so nobody dirties up their clothes. They stay in the gorillas feed the ladies apples bought from a Publix. If you got a good TV picture resolution, if you looked at the apples, you could see the indentation for the sticker, where the sticker used to be. They peeled it off and they thought you wouldn't notice. Oh god. So they eat the apples, and then they try to escape again. And then the prison warden dude, he comes looking for the ladies, and he meets the apes, and they form a coalition to get the ladies onto the ship to leave the planet. And then the apes betray the prison warden man, and they betray Trask as well, and they leave the good ape and the lady that escaped earlier. They leave those two on the ape planet, and for the other four apes, and the prison warden man and two of the ladies escape on the coffee cup spaceship into the sky, into a black hole. Cut to the future where the planet is now a planet of the apes, and prison guard man is executed, and the film ends on one of the two ladies giving birth to a doll, an ape doll. You have to see this film. You have to see this film. It's probably on this website. If you type in the name, you will probably find it. Watch it. You must. Oh my god. It is amazing. It is amazing. How did I get my hands on this thing? Well, if you look at here, this says rental on the little inner sticker. They put these particularly on rental stickers on their rental movies at a place called Hastings. If you haven't heard of it, I'm not surprised. Hastings was a media chain of stores that used to exist across the country. There's plenty of them all over the place. And then, one by one, they started to close down. And then the one in town was going out of business, and they were putting all of their rental movies up for sale. They were putting all of them up for sale. Pretty much 75 to 80 to 90% off, depending on how late in the going out of business sale you went there. You could probably buy movies for like 5 to 10 cents a pop. So naturally, people banked on that. This was one of those rentals. How this film had hard copies made, however, I have no idea how did this get hard copies? This is a no-budget film. Somebody must have really appreciated this film enough to give it a hard copy, to buy that hard copy, and then they didn't. Then they gave it to Hastings to have it rented out, and then somebody bought it from Hastings, and then they got rid of it for pennies, and then I picked it up for pennies. I don't know how many pennies, less than a quarter, but oh my goodness, I'm so happy to hold a hard copy of this. You can find it digital easily, but hard copy, I bet they're pretty rare. I bet the print is pretty low. Watch Empire of the Apes and be imaginative.